Hello, Jason. I've transferred this month's living expenses as usual. Please don't waste it. I used to call Jason at the end of every month to inform him about the money transfer. Being a boy, I thought he might find it annoying if I contacted him too often. Still, I wanted to hear his voice at least once a month. Thanks for the $10 every month. I've been eating beans every day. Wait, what? I transfer $11,000 every month. What's going on? Both of us were puzzled. My big book showed that I always transferred $1,000 to Jason's account as usual. So why did he think it was only a tenth of that amount? You can't do anything with just $10. But isn't your company struggling right now? What are you talking about? This year has been our best in terms of performance. If anything, I've been thinking about increasing the amount I send you. Upon hearing this, Jason expressed shock. I wondered who told him my business was in trouble. The blood rushed to my head as I tried to find out who spread such rumors. Jason, don't worry, I'll sort this out. Determined, I hung up the phone and planned to pick up Jason and head straight to the police. I was sure it was his doing. I won't forgive him. My name is Catherine. I'm a 49-year-old single mother. I divorced while I was pregnant, and ever since I've raised my eldest son, Jason, all by myself. Thankfully, my family owns a business where I've been working hard to succeed, ensuring that life has been stable and Jason has never had to experience any hardships. Jason has always been a very sincere child, although sometimes a bit scatterbrained. He consistently performed well academically. When my father fell ill during Jason's elementary school years, it inspired him to pursue medicine, leading to intensive studies and securing a place in a prestigious medical university. I was planning to cover all his college expenses, but thanks to his hard work, he received a tuition waiver, which greatly eased our financial burden. I've always been proud of my son's achievements and diligence. Given the distance from our home to the university, about 2 hours by train, I decided to let him live independently near the campus. He found a spot in a student dormitory that houses students from various universities. While parents aren't allowed inside the dorm, other students helped Jason with moving in. It was sad not to see his room, but it was part of his growing up. For the first few days of his independent life, Jason kept in touch regularly. However, after a week, the communications became infrequent, and by the end of the month, I hardly heard from him. 1 week before the summer vacation began, Jason called. He spoke about enjoying his classes, starting a part-time job, and planning to come home during the summer break. I was relieved to hear him sounding so upbeat. He also asked if he could bring a friend home during the break. The boy was from the same student dormitory. During summer vacation, he said he was going to stay at the dorm alone since no one would be at his family home. That's when Jason invited him, suggesting, "Why not come to my house then?" Considering Jason has always been a bit shy around new people, he must have had a special fondness for this boy to invite him over like that. I accepted the proposal immediately. When summer holiday arrived and Jason came home with his friend, I was left speechless. I had assumed he would look as reserved as he is. However, the boy standing at our entrance had blue hair and numerous piercings in both ears. "Hello, are you Jason's mom? You're so beautiful. Bet you're popular, huh?" "Well, perhaps," I replied, ignoring my evident discomfort. Lucas, Jason's friend, entered and promptly sat on the living room sofa. His presumptuous behavior made me want to speak out, but I restrained myself, remembering he was Jason's friend. Throughout his 3-day stay, Lucas consistently gave orders or suggestions to Jason every time. I felt uneasy, yet Jason didn't seem particularly bothered. "Hey Jason, let's hit up an arcade." "There's no arcade nearby, man. That's boring," Lucas replied. I wished he'd leave. If he was so bored, in those 3 days, I grew to truly dislike Lucas because he was always clinging to Jason. I hardly got any time with my son. Our precious mother-son time was being intruded upon, and honestly, I wished Lucas would leave soon. In the end, he didn't just stay for the 3 days, he lingered until Jason returned to school, depriving me of any quality time with my son. After going back to his dormitory, Jason's communications became sporadic. However, he sent me a monthly update and thanks for the allowance, so I believed he was doing alright as he was nearing adulthood. But come fall, unusually, I received a message from Jason in the middle of the month. "Sorry, I've been a bit busy and haven't been able to work part-time. I can't pay my rent. Could you send me a little money? Is it because exams are approaching? But I don't appreciate overspending. I'll send it this time, but be careful from now on, I replied. Upon hearing that, Jason responded in a dejected voice. I'm really sorry. It was an uncharacteristic issue for the normally responsible Jason, and I had a hunch that somehow Lucas might be involved. Hey, is there something troubling you right now? I'm fine, thank you as always. Just don't push yourself too hard. I was concerned by Jason's lack of spirit in his voice, but assumed he was just downcast because it was his first time having financial troubles. At the end of the following month, I called Jason. Hello, Jason. I've deposited your living expenses for this month. Don't waste it. Had a routine of calling Jason at the end of every month after making the transfer. Being the young man, I thought calling too often might annoy him, but I still wanted to hear his cheerful voice at least once a month. Thanks for the monthly $10 allowance. I've been eating beans every day. What I've been transferring is $1,000 every month. Wait, what? Both of us were puzzled by each other's words. My bank book clearly showed that I had, as always, transferred $11,000 to Jason's account. Why then did Jason think he was receiving only a tenth of that amount? You can't do much with just $10, but isn't your company going through tough times? What are you talking about? This year has been our best performance-wise. I've actually been thinking of increasing the amount I send you. Upon hearing my words, Jason let out a surprised gasp. Who had told him that my company was in danger? I wanted to find out who was spreading such rumors, and I felt a surge of anger. Jason, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. I ended the call intending to head to where Jason was and subsequently report the matter to the police. I was sure that he was the culprit. I won't forgive him. I took a taxi from the nearest station and stopped near the student dormitory. Then, I called Jason and told him to sneak out without anyone seeing him. Listen, make sure no one sees you. Just trust me. Jason seemed unconvinced, but he still kept his promise and discreetly left the dormitory. As he turned the corner and approached the car, I was shocked by his appearance. Mom, it's been a while. Jason, what happened to you? You look. When I saw him in the summer, he was healthy, but now he looked skeletal, a mere shadow of his former self. What on earth had happened? I hesitantly asked Jason. Jason, you've lost so much weight. What happened? At first, Jason tried to brush it off, but he eventually began explaining his current situation. Mom, after I got back from my visit, you sent me a new bank book, remember? Since then, the allowance you sent has been reduced to $10. I did struggle a lot, but Lucas mentioned during my visit that you talked about closing down the company, so I thought maybe things were tough for you. I was stunned to hear this. I had no recollection of discussing such a thing with Jason during his visit. The company was achieving its best performance ever this year, and I had no intentions of shutting it down whatsoever. Moreover, there was another thing that struck me about Jason's story. Hey, what's this about a new bank account? Indeed, Jason hasn't opened a new bank account since he was born, and I've been depositing $1,000 into the same account every month. I have a bad feeling, Jason. Let's go to the police. The police? Why? The money I've been sending to you, someone might have stolen it. When I said that, Jason's eyes widened in disbelief, but soon he seemed to ponder if his suspicion might indeed be correct. I felt a pang in my heart, thinking about the hardship that might await Jason in the future. However, someone has to take responsibility for doing this to you. Driver, please take us to the nearest police station. With my request, the taxi started moving. The taxi driver, who overheard our conversation, kindly drove us to the largest police station in the city. Upon arriving at the police station, I supported Jason as we entered. Jason, once a member of a sports club and so diligent about his diet with an impressive physique, now seemed frail, perhaps even lighter than me. Tears welled up in my eyes as I supported him. A young male officer at the station listened to both our stories and offered comforting words. You've been strong, gone through tough times, he said, causing Jason to break down crying. Actually, we've had similar complaints from student dormitories in this area recently, the officer continued. About 3 families have come forward with complaints similar to ours, and all of them were pointing to one individual as the culprit. Isn't that individual by any chance someone named Lucas? I asked. The police officer sighed at my words and nodded. Jason was looking down next to me. Perhaps, even though he had suspicions, he wished deep down that it wasn't true. I placed my hand on Jason's back and looked at the officer. Is an investigation underway? The officer pondered for a moment and then guided Jason and me to a separate room. He asked us to submit a report on the damages we faced. I agreed and immediately filled out the report. Once the report was submitted, the person in charge informed us about the current state of the investigation. Lucas played a role similar to a contact person. He befriended the victims, obtained their bank account details and pins, and then withdrew their money. The person receiving the money they believed was a specific man. Looking at the provided photo, I jumped up in surprise. I know this man. The police were equally shocked, their eyes wide as they looked at me. I took a deep breath, my heart racing, and began to explain about the man in the photo. This is Liam, right? He's my ex-husband and Jason's father. Wait, my dad? Jason's voice was filled with disbelief. The man in the photo was indeed Liam, my ex-husband. The reasons for our divorce involved financial issues and affairs with other women. After the divorce, I lost contact with him and never received any child support. However, I believed it was better for Jason not to have any bad influence from him, so I never tried to track Liam's whereabouts after that. But I never imagined he would be involved in something that would lead to police intervention. I felt the blood drain from my face. So, Jason was deceived out of his money by both a close friend and his biological father. Jason stood frozen, his mouth open in shock. Actually, we've discovered that this Liam and Lucas are father and son. Wait, what? I was taken aback. I had met Lucas before, and he had mentioned he was the same age as Jason. Given the rigorous ID verification at Jason's student dormitory, that was likely true. But if that was the case, it meant that Liam had another woman pregnant at the same time as me, which would be an affair. Though I no longer held any feelings for Liam, the revelation was still shocking. So, Lucas and I are brothers, Jason muttered, overwhelmed by this unexpected revelation. I was also at a loss for words, having never anticipated such a twist. In light of this, we have a favor to ask. Of course, I'll cooperate in any way possible to catch those two, I said. At my words, Jason nodded in agreement. Following the police's instructions, we decided to play along with their plan. I discreetly sent Jason back to his dormitory and checked myself into a nearby business hotel. The next day, ensuring Lucas was present, I made a call. Hello, how are you, Jason? I asked. Jason, mentioning he was doing the dishes, deliberately put the call on speaker. From this, I deduced that Lucas was nearby. I had a little unexpected income, so I'll be transferring some money into your account. Make sure to use it wisely. Understood. Thank you, Jason replied before ending the call. I stopped the IC recorder I had at hand and proceeded to transfer $88,000 into Jason's account. The next morning, armed with evidence, Jason sent me after verifying the bank transfer. I presented it to the police. Before heading to the dormitory, we made a brief stop. Once we arrived, we explained the situation to the dormitory's manager, who immediately led us to Lucas's room. Upon ringing the bell, we heard hurried footsteps approaching from inside. Yeah, who is it? Lucas asked, swinging the door open, only to freeze in his tracks, utterly shocked. In a place where outsiders were strictly prohibited, seeing me and the police officers must have been the last thing he expected. With a composed smile, I greeted the flustered Lucas. Hello, Lucas. It's been a while. I'm Jason's mother. Why would Jason's mother want to see me, and why are the police here? Lucas glanced over at Jason, standing beside me, and seemed to realize the nature of our visit. We have a warrant, so we're going to conduct a search now. I have to leave now, so could we reschedule this for another time? Lucas attempted to close the door forcefully. Without missing a beat after hearing the officer's statement, Lucas tried to close the door forcefully. However, the police officers were prepared for this. 2 officers forcefully opened the door, initiating the search. Almost immediately after they began, voices echoed from various corners. Lucas visibly slumped, realizing the gravity of the situation. Jason and I entered the room, leaving a deflated Lucas behind. There were multiple bank books and cards laid out on the table, all under different names. My head throbbed looking at the evidence. The police officers, with practiced hands, arranged the items according to their names and started taking photographs. How did you find out, Jason? Did you set me up? Lucas's voice trembled with disbelief. I thought you were my best friend, but all along, you were mocking me, internally watching me struggle. You've got it all wrong. There's a reason for all of this. Lucas scrambled to come up with excuses, but Jason didn't react at all. Frustration marked Lucas's face, and it seemed like he was about to lash out. I stepped in. It's pretty low to scam money from your own half-brother, I said, glaring at Lucas. Half-brother, Jason interjected, his voice betraying a mix of hurt and confusion. With whom you and Jason share a father, I clarified, watching as Lucas was rendered speechless by my words. Given that he targeted only students, it seemed probable that he had shared preliminary information with Liam. My family business is unique, so when Liam investigated Jason, he would have quickly realized that he's my son, I continued calmly. Is that a lie? Lucas demanded. It's true. Liam is my ex-husband and Jason's real father. It seems like he was cheating on me at the same time that you were born, I explained. When I said that, Lucas sat down in shock. I knew from the police investigation that Lucas had a frail sister. Soon after divorcing me, Liam quickly married his then mistress, but I heard that she didn't want a boy, and he was left to grow up neglected. Soon after, the sister was born, Liam and his mistress divorced, and the sister was taken in by her maternal family due to the costs of her treatment. It seems Lucas was taken in by Liam, I narrated, piecing together the family dynamics. They seem to have met regularly as siblings, and during those times, Lucas gave money to their mother for treatment, I added, feeling the strong bond between the siblings. And Lucas, it seems my assumptions were correct. Did I exploit my own sibling? With those words, Lucas was taken away by the police. Jason and I went straight to the police station, where we were shown our share from the confiscated bank book. Apparently, Lucas would get people drunk, go shopping with them, check their ATM pin, then go to their room and steal their bank book, card, and ID. He would wait until the holidays to check if their family was wealthy. Then he would create a new bank account, give it to them, and when money entered the original account, he would withdraw all of it and deposit only a little into the new account. No wonder every time I updated the bank book, I couldn't see what the money was used for, I sighed, realizing the reason. It seems Lucas quickly gave up Liam's name as an accomplice, and I was informed the next evening that Liam was also arrested. I went to the police and shared all I knew about Liam's past with them. After a while, I went to visit Liam. Jason wanted to come, but I asked him to wait outside. This time meeting Liam after 20 years, he looked older, but his condescending attitude was still there. I went too far. Liam, without any remorse, made this comment, and I struggled to control my anger. I forced a smile. Pathetic, lost it all in horse racing. I'll contact my parents soon and get out of here. Liam responded casually. I slapped a piece of paper in front of him. His expression changed immediately. What is this? He asked, flipping through the pages. Oh, I told your parents everything about you. Even after divorcing Liam, I kept in touch with his sensible parents. They felt guilty for not meeting Jason but kept me updated with photos. When I told them I was meeting Liam today, they asked me to give him this. Do you realize what this is? I asked. It says disarmament. Liam approached me aggressively through the glass. I calmly responded, until you, who ran away, won't understand their struggles. They wanted to meet their grandson Jason, but they waited until your mess was settled. You should have let them meet you instead of running away. A police officer in the room told me to calm down. I took a deep breath to compose myself. Anyway, I can now introduce them to their grandson. Oh, about Lucas. I paused. What about Lucas? He has nothing to do with you, right? Liam asked. They said they never want to see you again. They don't want anything to do with a father who exploits their half-siblings, I said. The mother-in-law said she'd take them in. What? How am I supposed to live without them? Liam's face displayed sheer despair upon hearing her reply, which was accompanied by my brightest smile of the day. Without heeding his plea, I left the visitation room. Afterward, more of his crimes were revealed, and he was sentenced to prison. We were relieved to hear that he wouldn't be released for at least 5 years. The boy, being a minor, was put under probation. He's now being strictly disciplined by his grandparents, who live deep in the mountains where there are no forms of entertainment. The boy seems to be struggling. By the way, the younger sister plans to undergo surgery overseas. The reason the boy was desperately collecting money was for her operation. However, the man had been spending that money on himself, seeking pleasure. Every time he does, he's reprimanded by the grandparents. Jason was initially confused but has since been studying hard to become a doctor. His grades are steadily improving, and he's approaching the time for the national exam. As for me, the company has grown even more, and I've been able to send more money to Jason. Moreover, someone who has been supporting the company alongside me suddenly proposed to me. I'm currently holding off on giving an answer. By the way, Jason seems to have suggested the proposal. He has been attached to this person since he was a child. Jason apparently advised, it's better to get married than just dating. I was somewhat impressed, thinking he knows my character so well. However, next year, with Jason's practical training and exams, expenses will increase. For now, I'm focused on supporting Jason in his journey to become a doctor. After that, I'll consider other things in the future.